Hello, welcome to Recovery Demystified, a show where we explore our relationship to substances from a radical, non-religious, and empowering lens. Our sobriety is not a purity contract. It is an invitation to become curious about ourselves and find our own unique paths to growth and healing. If you've been questioning the role of alcohol or drugs in your life and haven't found the resources that you need, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello everyone, it's your friend Early. I'm so happy to have y'all here today. I've got another interview episode. It's my friend Hana. And before we recorded, we recorded remotely, and before we recorded, she was like, maybe we should go over this ahead of time because my story is kind of long and I don't know what I should keep in and what I should take out. And I was like, I'm not normally this type of person, but it just seems to usually work out without any planning ahead of time. So let's just go for it and see what happens. Usually it takes, about an hour for people to tell their stories. And I was sitting listening to her story and we got to the hour mark, and around then, I kind of had to pee, but it was getting so good. And she just kept going and going and going. And I was like, oh my God, I was just astonished at every turn because I met her after she had already been well for, 8 years or something like that. She has a beautiful home. She owns her own business. She just seems, you wouldn't know this about her until you heard all of the stories. So yeah, just keeps going on. And I'm like, oh my God, I simply cannot believe that you went through all of this. And it brings to mind, I forget the exact name of the practice, but I believe it comes from Buddhism, and it's a type of compassion practice, loving kindness or something like that. But spoiler alert, part of Hana's story is being homeless and addicted to drugs for a few years. And there's this just huge stigma in society of homeless people and drug addicts, and people will see this person and think that oh, this is a disposable person, or this person's a nuisance or a failure or a fuck up, and they just need to pull themselves up by them bootstraps or get bulldozed out of town so we don't have to see them at the homeless camp anymore or something. And I think listening to this episode can bring to mind a really important practice, which is you see someone in the absolute worst state of their life. You can imagine that person as an innocent young child, and you can also imagine them as a very old adult, elderly to the point of disability. And if you can have compassion for a person who's super elderly, and you can have compassion for a person who's an innocent little child, and you can join those two images to be the person you see in front of you, the person in the worst moment of their life, perhaps that can in someone with a fucking heart and a soul, that can conjure up a bit of compassion for the person that you see acting badly or suffering very deeply. And I wish that people who think awful things about homeless folks would use this practice to be able to rehumanize these people that society has dehumanized. And I hope that through Hana telling her story and people listening to it, that we can see the process that someone goes through from childhood to becoming a homeless adult, and then the process that it takes to heal and come out of that and become a person who is not on drugs and is happy with their life and is stable again. And it requires compassion and humanity and community. And yeah, her story it's very moving, and it's one where she gets into really grotesque detail about how dark and awful it gets. And I really appreciate that she's super candid with her story, and you get it's really good storytelling, but it's really scary, bad stories. She does tell in depth her experience with her suicide attempt, and a bunch of other not fun, dark, sad stories. So if that is not something you're ready to hear in great detail, please take good care. And without further ado, here's my episode with Hana, part 1. Hello, Hana. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Always a little nervous when I start recording, but it seems to to fade away as we get into it.
Sure.
Will you let the listeners know a little bit about you? Let them know your pronouns and, a little bit about yourself.
My name is Hana. My pronouns are she, they, and I am a recovering addict of all variations, and I will have 8 years clean next month. And I own my own business and operate that and work in the music industry. And I'm living my goddamn dreams despite so many insurmountable odds.
Hell yeah. I love to hear that kind of story where it's like, yeah, going from the streets to be like, oh no, actually I'm in long-term recovery and own my own business and stuff. So I'm super excited to hear your story. Will you start with what it was like to be a little kid and then maybe some of your first encounters with substances, when it got bad, and how you got into recovery? Just start wherever you'd like.
Okay. So I guess I'm going to laugh at a lot of traumatic stuff here. That is my coping mechanism. So I guess my mom is an alcoholic. She will deny that until she's dead and buried. But my dad was also a drinker, and they used cocaine together. And so, they had it, put together, a house. It was, acceptable by society standards. But I guess I was really exposed to addiction from day one. And that was just normal. I'll think about it every once in a while. It's I've never known my mother to be sober one night in my entire life, and that's wild. Yeah, I guess there's a fun family story. The first time I got drunk, I was 2 years old. I don't remember that. Drank my mother's glass of wine while she was playing Nintendo. And she says, next thing she knows, she looks over and her 2-year-old can't make it up the stairs. And that's a big, funny family story.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of those where it's hey guys, that's awful. CPS should have been involved.
Yeah. So obviously that was probably pre-memory, this is just a story to you. Yeah.
So my parents got divorced when I was 6 years old. So I have a big sister. She's 7 years older than me. She's my dad's biological daughter, but not my mother's. But up until, even beyond that. So they got divorced when I was 6. And my sister stayed with my dad. My dad paid for an apartment down the way for my mom and I. And so it was kind of I had two houses, and I would go back and forth. And then eventually my mom, to spite my father, moved us farther away. And that's when it really started to hit that it was a broken home situation.
Yeah. Do you remember what it felt like at that age?
Really confusing, really sad. We had a lot of animals. My sister and I were super close growing up. And I love my dad. And so it was really, really hard. I missed my sister, missed my dad, missed my animals a great deal. And my mom had moved us in with her sister, my Aunt Debbie, and they were very anti my father. And so I was suddenly thrown into this environment where they were just talking shit about my dad nonstop. And I remember feeling like I needed to be on board with that in order to get their acceptance, but it always felt yucky. And I have a very, very distinct memory of being on my aunt's phone with my mom and my aunt standing by me while I told my dad that I didn't want to see him anymore. And and my dad just started crying, and he said, whatever you want, I will do, but I love you and this hurts, but I was 7, and I just remember feeling oh my God, I'm hurting my dad. I want to I don't want to do this, but I've got my aunt and my mom standing in front of me just enjoying it, and so that was a really fucked up memory. And after that, I didn't talk to my dad for like 4 years. And through that time, he was just, nonstop vilified. So that was, that sucked.
That's super hard to go through, especially at that age. I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah, it was very confusing, but like I really was like, well, these are the adults in my life that I'm supposed to feel safe with. And if they say this is dangerous, then, like I guess it's dangerous. But I never really like believed it in my heart. But my aunt, my mother, both drinkers, my aunt's husband, also a drinker. And so it was just always normalized. And, my mom, like my sister and I will joke about it where, my mom has always said the same thing throughout the years, that she has 2 glasses of wine every night with ice. And so she's not a problem, but it's more like a couple of bottles and then sometimes shots of other, alcohol mixed in. So I have a lot of memories of like my mom being drunk and like not knowing how to feel about it, but like when you're that age, you also, that's all you know. And so it's what you think is normal. And like I remember having a couple moments in my time realizing that it wasn't normal. Like we lived in a cul-de-sac. And this was before they got divorced, but like I remember my friends being like, is everything okay at your house? Like we hear your parents screaming and fighting all the time. And I was just like, I had no idea that wasn't normal.
Yeah.
And going home and everybody, like I forgot a toy and I would go home and they're screaming and fighting and doors slamming. And I'm just like, like gotta grab my Barbie or whatever the hell it was. And like finding my sister crying, and she's 7 years older than me, and she would like pull me in and hold me, and she was crying. And those were like a couple big moments where I was like, oh, this is bad. This is not normal.
Yeah. So at that age, it seems normal, but does it feel normal? Did it take your sister crying for something to shift in your emotions and in your body? Do you remember?
100%. Yeah. Like I thought that's what adults did, I thought they screamed and yelled, and I thought that was being an adult. And that day that I went home and my sister just like held me sobbing, I was like, oh, okay, this is a bad thing. Like she's upset about this and something's wrong.
When did you try substances on purpose for the first time, other than when you were 2 and accidentally drinking the wine?
So I was probably about 11, I believe. My mom had married a guy and we were living with him in this, nice house. And my mom, I like throughout like the divorce and stuff, my mom moved me around a lot. Like I can't even count how many different schools I went to. And I never had friends. My dad's house was in like disrepair after my mom left and was pretty gross. So like I had lice, I had ringworm, I was dirty, and so I was always like the gross new kid. And so I didn't have any friends. Like my mom was my only friend, which was very unhealthy. So she is married, she gets married, we're living with this guy, and this was like a real big turning point. My mom was working for, she's an accountant, and she was working for this gold company who had mines in Costa Rica. And she was unhappy in the marriage because she married for the very wrong reasons. And she started going to Costa Rica all the time, and she was having an affair down there. And I was just left with this man that I didn't really know. And he was a great guy, like super nice, but just clunky with kids. And it was just an awkward situation, I'm sure, for both of us. So my mom had me in ballet. Like I took a lot of dance. I was riding horses, and she had me in all kinds of like, those were my 2 big hobbies, that she put me in to keep me out of trouble. So I was doing like tap, jazz, ballet, swing, and modern. And she I'm sure my mom thought that these are like really nice girls and they'll be like a good impression on me. But the first time I got drunk on my own volition, it was about 11, and one of the older girls from ballet had come over and we went hunting. It was her idea. She wanted to hunt for alcohol. And the only thing we found was a bottle of triple sec. And so we got hammered on triple sec. And, I had gotten drunk before, like as a kid at parties that like I'd been taken to. And I'd already been familiar with like, oh, this is a nice dreamy feeling. Mm-hmm. But at 11, when I was like really struggling, I'd been all but abandoned by my mom, just in this very strange circumstance. It was like the best thing that I had found to feel good, like at that time. And on top of that, it was also like a bonding experience. And I was so desperate for like acceptance and friends. And so it felt like, something I could leverage to be cool and have friends. And that was kind of the beginning. And then I took like it's so hard because it's so long ago, but I feel like I still didn't have like friends in school. And this was, middle school. Eventually I ended up getting in with the cool crowd, and they were, drinking Zimas and smoking weed and all that stuff. And so those times would kind of like blend together for me. But I started smoking cigarettes, drinking fairly regularly, and even though I didn't like it, smoking weed regularly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just an angry kid trying to find somewhere to belong, and that was the crowd that I ended up in.
That makes sense. And I feel like I hear this so much, and it's something that I wish like normative society could understand, like instead of vilifying people for getting addictions, like looking at the pattern of people's lives where it's oftentimes way less than perfect experiences in childhood and like social rejection, and then trying a substance and having this like hallelujah moment and finally experiencing connection and getting friends, and having that just like body mind reaction of like, this is the only thing that's ever made me feel good. And no wonder that you'd continue to seek that out in the future. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Like it is 100% like a symptom of the issue and not the issue itself. Like, I don't think I've ever met anyone that was like, oh God, I had the best childhood. Like, my mom's amazing. My dad is amazing. Like, straight A's. And now I'm an alcoholic, homeless person. Like it's usually turmoil behind a lot of this stuff.
So you're 11 when you had that experience with the person with dance class, and then what age were you when you started getting into the crowd with the cool kids? Were the cool kids the bad kids, I'm guessing?
Oh, for sure. I repeated 7th grade, and I was very sad because I had just made all these new friends, and then my best friend also got told the same day that she would be repeating 7th grade, and I was like, yeah, it was great. Like, it all went to shit immediately. Like, I was a straight A student because that was all I had. And then like 7th grade, I went from straight A's to straight D's and F's because all I cared about was my friends. My mom was not happy about it, but she was also in another country.
Did she ever come back?
Oh, she did. She went, like, she would go for like, gosh, I don't know, like anywhere from like a week to like a month, it seems like. And then she would come back, and then her and Steve would fight, and she would, and she's drinking every night, and she's telling me how miserable she is and how she met like super inappropriate stuff.
Yeah.
And like telling me about this man she met in Costa Rica who's also married. My mom has like a history of like breaking up marriages, hers and others. Eventually, they ended up getting divorced, but it was like God, I want to say it was like 2 years with Steve, and then my mom going back and forth, not being there. And then she decided to get a divorce from Steve and move this guy, Luciano, from Costa Rica in with us and get a townhome where, again, we had a dog and some cats at Steve's, and I lost those again and end up in a townhome with some man who barely speaks English that I can't communicate with. Very fucking weird situation. My mom can't figure out why I'm acting out. And so, yeah, I had my middle school friends that would and it was light drinking then, just silly, getting the giggles, nothing too crazy. And then after we moved into the townhome with Luciano, that's when it started to ramp up more. And I had an older boyfriend who was a great guy. We're still friends today, but he was 4 years older than me. And so I was hanging out with older people just due to his friend group. And they were, partiers. And we started going to house parties. And that's when I was really going hard with binge drinking at that point. And that kind of was par for the course for a while. And then I was maybe about to turn 15, or I was 15. And my mom had decided Luciano had gone back to Costa Rica. My mom's miserable. My mom is drinking herself into oblivion every single night. One of her favorite moves is to threaten suicide. And so I'm 12 through 14, I'm dealing with trying to deal with my mom and dragging her to bed, when she falls asleep in the garage. And then my mom's threatening suicide every night, just blacked out. I'm calling the police. I'm calling ambulances. It was a fucking shit show. So that was the state my mother's in. And I'm just all I want to do is be outside of the house. I don't want anything to do with it. And so having these friends and drinking and laughing is all I want to do. But my mom decides when I'm 15 or about to be that she's sick of me, and she ships me off. So I had recently started talking to my dad again via a therapist who, God bless her, recognized a lot. I was always in therapy. It was always my fault. And I had so many therapists that they would be okay, Denise, that's my mom. They would be Denise, we'd like you to come in for solo therapy. And then suddenly I had a new therapist because my mom did not agree with that. She's fine. Everything's fine. I had one therapist who got me reconnected with my dad, but it was begrudgingly because I'd been poisoned to think he was this terrible, terrible man. And so we were talking on and off, but it was uncomfortable. It was strained. And so at 15, my mom decides she's had it with me. And it's it's weird because I found emails. My dad's passed away now, but I found emails from this time where my mom is she is going to ruin everything I have. You have to take her. It wasn't I'm really concerned about Hana and I think this would be good for her. It was just she just wanted me out of her fucking hair. It was I was living 50 miles away from my dad. And so she ships me off there, even though I'm begging and pleading with her not to. And I finally get back to my dad's. And so I had a horse at this time, and my dad's 50 miles away. And so my mom forces me to go there. And then once I get settled in, it takes a couple weeks. And I call my sister and I'm hey, can you take me to the barn? I want to go see Chester, my horse. And my sister is oh, you don't know. And I was what are you talking about? She's Mom sold your horse. And I freak out. I call my mom crying, hyperventilating. And she's I want you to know that if you live with your father, you will have nothing. So that was a gigantic blow. Like, that horse was my life. He was like my baby. And so at that point, I just was so angry, so hurt. And now I'm like hanging out with the new bad kids. One night, it was around Christmas time, we went and stole nativity scenes, driving around like hoodlums in the night. And somebody had cocaine. And so we end up doing cocaine off of like baby Jesus from a nativity scene.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm like, whoa, this is incredible. I feel like I'm my best version of myself. This is my new thing. And then the very next night after that, so I get kicked out of my dad's at some point through this. I'm trying to speed through this. And I'm living with my sister, and she has 2 roommates, and they're bad guys. Or like just the bad crowd, not bad guys. But so the very next night after I try cocaine, I end up going to a party with these 2 like much older guys that are living with my sister, and it's just a meth house, and I end up doing a bunch of meth. So cocaine one night and meth the next night.
Did you know that it was meth when you were smoking it?
Yeah. This is like back in the day when it was like light bulbs. People smoked out of light bulbs. And so one of the guys that was living with my sister, his dad was a part of a motorcycle club, the High Plains Drifters. And I knew that they were into drugs. But we get to this house. I am definitely the youngest person there. And someone offers it to me, and I'm like scared, but I'm also like trying to be a big girl because like, I do cocaine. I'm a professional. What's this? Sure. And I love it. And I spend the whole night at this house smoking so much meth, like a drug that a 15-year-old has no business doing. And I go back to my sister's with these guys, and they're like, don't tell your sister we took you. And my sister had told me, like, don't fucking go anywhere with these guys. I get back to my sister's. I lay on the floor and pretend to be asleep for like 8 hours, just spinning my fucking lip ring. And finally, my sister, like after, X amount of hours, is like, you can stop pretending now. And she's getting pissed. And I'm like, God damn it, she's good. On 9/11, I get kicked out of my sister's house. And the night before, I'd gotten a call from this school that I think I maybe went to 3 times, the high school. And they are like, hey, if you don't come in tomorrow, you're expelled. And I'm like, oh, okay, shit, I gotta go. Same night, my sister tells me I need to watch my nephew the next day. I tell her, I'm going to be expelled if I don't go. And she's like, well, I don't give a shit. You have to watch Tyler. And so
How old is the nephew?
He's a baby at this time. Mm-hmm. Well, he's like 2. Yeah, because I was like 13 when he was born. And so I wake up before her. I sneak out of the house. I walk down to the gas station and where a friend works. And I'm like, see everything going on TV, which, was obviously a shock for everyone at that point. And so I go to the school, like I was going, and I was to take a bus from that high school to the other high school I went to in Boulder. And there's 2 buses. I decide this is a fucked up day. This is a day for drugs. And so I do a bunch of drugs with my friends. I finally catch the afternoon bus. I do more drugs in the woods before I go to school. I'm like, nobody knows who I am. Everyone's just watching 9/11 happen on TV. I get called into the principal's office, and he is like, hey, your dad called. And, he's like, are you okay? Because I'm like sweating and just like shaking. And
has it been like days of being on meth at this point?
No, because I'd slept the night before, woke up early, but it was just a lot of meth. And so he tells me, like, I just see it in his eyes, like he knows I'm fucked up, but he's like, this kid's getting expelled. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to do my job. And he's like, yeah, your dad wants you to meet him in the parking lot after school. And so I get back there, and I'm sitting in a car with my friends doing more meth, and I can see my dad in the parking lot across the way, and he is just getting angrier and angrier, redder and redder, and I'm like, oh, that looks fucking awful. I think I'll walk back. I don't want to be in a car with him right now. And so I walk back to the house where like I'm supposed to be going, and it's like up a hill and around a corner. But as soon as you turn the corner, like you're looking smack at it and there's no getting away. And so I turn this corner, fucking so ripped on meth. And I see my mom, my dad, my sister, my nephew, and 2 police officers.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I can't turn. I can't run. Like, I
They
just
see you.
Yeah, and I just they're all standing in the driveway, and I just have to keep moving forward. And I get there, my sister grabs me, and she's like, get in the fucking house right now. And she's like, Hana, you need to get your fucking shit together. You're now kicked out of my house. You just listen to what they have to say. You're going to be okay, but like fucking pull it together. And so I go out in the driveway. My mother, of course, is making everything about her. And these 2 cops are like, well, you've been kicked out of your mom's house. You've been kicked out of your dad's house. Now you've been kicked out of your sister's. So you have 2 choices. Your mom's gracious enough to let you go back with her, or you can come with us. And I'm like, I'll go with my mom. And so now I'm back 50 miles away from my dad's, and I don't know any dealers that'll drive 50 miles for a 20. So I am now off of meth, an uncomfortable, couple of weeks. My mom puts me in an accelerated school, which is just a school for bad kids and foreign exchange students. And this school, I cannot believe is still open, but they don't give a shit. Like, we had a smoking campus at my high school, and so I was at the smoking campus. And we got normal cigarette breaks throughout the day. All of us were, bad kids and drinkers. And
everyone's still underage, obviously.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, we're high school kids. We're like 15 through 17,
That's
and they had
the kind of school that just kind of wants you to get your GED and just get it over with.
Well, they want you to get a high school diploma, but it is a fucking farce at this school. They have all of the grades. Like, if you're in high school, that's your group. And so all the grades are together. They play tapes all day, and you just have to write down notes. And then you get cigarette breaks. And also, you get paid to show up. So I had an allowance of like $30 a day from school. And if you get like marked off, you get less money, So it's like, just behave. We'll pay you. We will fund your addictions. Just show up. And so it seemed like a pretty great deal. We drank in school. We just loosely hid it, but the teachers knew what the hell we were doing. But every day I would get ride to school in the van, and I would drink like a pint glass of my mom's white wine before I left, and then I would pour another water bottle of it, and I would just drink all day at school. And so that was just kind of par for the course. Like, one morning I got so, like, I don't know, I had poured a sports water bottle, half and half, vodka, orange juice. I drank it before the van even showed up, drank more wine, poured another screwdriver, drank that before we even got to the school. And so I can't even walk. And it's like 9:30 in the morning. They have to call my mom from work to come get me. And my mom shows up and just like sits in the doorway, and she's like, get over here if you can even walk. Oh, and so I walk over. She rips a beanie off my head. It bounces my head off of a door frame. And that was how I left. But like, I didn't get kicked out of school for that. Like, I just missed my pay that day.
I was going to say, they're like, don't forget to take your $30.
Yeah, and then it was actually a running joke after that if anyone was like screwing around in class, they'd be like, oh, don't do that. We'll call Hana's mom, because she was so scary.
Oh my gosh.
And so, probably not the way I would handle kids. So this was like the weird environment I'm in, where I'm drinking every day at school, doing coke at parties with friends. and this is just normal. And at that point in my mind, I'm like, don't do meth anymore. So I'm doing okay. Like, this is fine. As long as I don't do meth, I'm good. And so eventually my mom would love to do this thing where she's like, get out of the house, and then kicks me out, and I'm like, with pleasure. And then she calls the police on me. So that was going on a lot. My mom's threatening suicide. I'm threatening suicide. It's fucking miserable at the house. Like, I'm happy with my friends, but like, I'm fucking dying inside. There was a few good suicide attempts throughout this period. My mom and I both, and my dad is now involved. And so like but only like my mom is calling him to be like, listen to what she's done now. So one night, my mom is really on one, and she's just ripping me apart. Like, you know, she loved to tell me that like she should have had the abortion my father drove her to, at which, you know, later reconnecting with my dad is not a true story. And things of that nature were like, I've ruined her life. She wishes I was dead. Like, she wishes she was dead, blah, blah, blah. So it's one of those nights, and I end up taking an entire bottle of ibuprofen, and I'm telling her I'm doing this, and she's like, good, do it. Keep it down. And then eventually, like, I take this whole bottle and I just start throwing up. To this day, I have a hard time with pills because of this. Yeah. But I'm just throwing up like grit and bile, and I'm crying, and I want my mom to help me, and I'm scared, and she won't help me. She calls my dad through all of this and is like, listen to what she's done now. And my dad is like, call a fucking ambulance, Denise. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. So my dad, 50 miles away, has to get off the phone, call the police, send them to our house. I get taken to the hospital, charcoal, the whole 9 yards. And I get admitted to like a mental health center for kids, and I love it. It has structure. I love the people there. I have friends I'm not using, and it's just amazing. And I spend like 2 weeks there. And then
I have a question. You know how you said when you were a little kid, all of the like chaotic environment stuff seemed normal because that was just how it was? Mm-hmm. Was there a point when you were growing up where your, I don't know, brain got developed enough where you're like, wait, maybe this isn't normal? Or did it just like, since it was constant chaos, did it always feel normal up until that point?
No, I knew it wasn't normal. But the thing about my mom is that she is a very, she's like a successful alcoholic. What the hell is that term?
Functional?
Functional. Thank you.
Like she didn't lose her job or her house or anything.
Well, she has her own business. She has home. She's very materialistic, and like that's how she measures herself.
So you could like explain away the dysfunction with those standards?
No, it was just nobody believed me because she presented as normal. And so like when I tried reaching out to people before, like my aunt or something, it was like, no. And nobody helped me. And so I knew it wasn't normal, but I knew nobody believed me. And the only people I ever really talked to about it were like therapists. And that was when they'd be like, we got to get your mom in here. And then, you know, that she'd switch me therapists.
Wow.
And so I knew it wasn't normal. And my way of coping with it was lying. Like I started making up really tragic shit about my life to garner sympathy from like my friends. Because like, I think I needed somebody to know I was going through some shit. And so because nobody believed me about my mom, I would like make up really fucked up sad stories, you know, like
you like needed to have your emotions validated, and when telling the truth didn't get them validated, it makes sense to just say whatever you need to try to get that necessary human need met.
Yeah. And that was like something I was embarrassed about for a really long time, but then like it totally makes sense to me now.
Sorry to get off track, but you were in the, what is it, like a rehab center?
Oh, yeah. So I was, so I went to this like I don't know, it was like a mental health for kids thing. So like kids that are cutting, which I was, attempting suicide, drink it, whatever it was. And I loved it. And it was like my haven. And so after I went there, I started intentionally, like, I wouldn't actually like try to kill myself, but I wanted to go back there so bad. So I would like feign suicide attempts to get to the hospital, to get back to that place. And then I like spent a whole month there over Christmas once. It was like maybe the best Christmas I've ever had. Worst part of that was when my mom would come visit. But then eventually, I think it was like the third or fourth time I did that, I ended up in a different place that has since been shut down because it's fucked up. That was a whole other experience. And I was like begging my parents to come get me the fuck out of there. And then I was like, okay, can't fake suicide anymore to get the fuck out of this environment. I guess I'll just continue partying with my friends, and like that's going to be my outlet. But like somewhere in me, like, you know, I wanted that stability. It wasn't like, there's so many times I can point to where I wasn't using and I was happier than I'd ever been. But as soon as I was like thrown back into the world, I was like, well, that's all I know. So I went right back to it.
Did you end up graduating from that weird high school?
No, I spent 4 years there. I was supposed to, but then they lost a bunch of my credits and told me I was going to have to, which I don't know how you do that, but they told me I was going to have to do another year. And I said, I don't think so. And I went and got my GED.
When did you end up getting out of the house?
Eventually it was like, I don't know, I must have been like 16 when this happened, but I got put into a youth center for 8 months. And again, super happy, doing great. Loved it.
What's youth center the euphemism for? Is it like juvie or?
No, it's so it was called Excelsior Youth Center, and it was just like a place where kids that were struggling or wards of the state would be sent. And it was a huge facility and like had different wings, and you know, you share a room with someone, but like you still go to, like, they have a school there. So like I went to classes, and again, I was doing really well. And like when I first got there, I hated this woman, this counselor, Michelle, because she always called me out on my bullshit and my manipulation. And by the time I left there, she was my favorite, and I loved her, and she was my safe person. And once again, like through those 7-8 months, like the worst part of it was when my mom would come to visit, and we were, you know, there's like therapy involved, family therapy, group therapy, blah, 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 all kinds of that stuff. And yeah, I loved it. It was coming time for me to leave, and I was freaking out. Side note, my mom had cashed in my inheritance, $250,000 from her mother, who was also a piece of work. And that's when my mom got a house, got this new car, sent me to this very expensive youth center. So I think at this point, like, she would have left me there if she had the funds, but she'd burnt through all the inheritance. And so I don't want to leave. Like, I'm so scared. And my mom's really excited. Like, she's like, oh, I can't wait for you to be home, you know? And she's like, I miss my best friend, that kind of shit. And I'm just like, I fucking hate you. Like, I'm terrified and I do not want to go back. And so the day she came to pick me up, she like rented a limo and then like screamed at me the whole way back to the house because I was crying. And she was mad that she had wasted money on this like grand thing that I didn't even appreciate. So after that, high school, like I went back to the accelerated school. I finished high school, or didn't, you know, whatever. I went and got my GED. Then I was out of the house pretty quick after that. I met my ex-husband, and just like classic addict fashion, I think we were together for like a week before I was living with him, maybe, if that. And it was a band house. And so parties, nonstop parties, cocaine, alcohol. But once again, I have this mindset of like, as long as I'm not using meth, I'm doing great. And so Aaron and I'll just speed through these next few years. Aaron and I are together for like 6-7 years. And I was 19 when we got together. He was 4 years old, or still is, he's alive, 4 years older than me. And I, never knew who I was. And like, I definitely didn't know who the fuck I was when I was 19. But we were kids. And then as we grew, it was obvious that we wanted different things. And there were so many times that it was like he was ready to leave, but I wasn't ready to let him go. Or I was ready to go, but he wouldn't let me go. Classic toxic stuff. But like, still a lot of good memories, like, hanging out with friends and going to shows and going on tour. But again, we're like young kids.
Y'all were drinking and using the whole time?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, cocaine and alcohol nonstop. And then, and then I turned 21. There's no looking back. And that was just normal. That's like cocaine and alcohol is super acceptable in society. Those are like, it's like, I don't know. It's super acceptable. And I'd already been through all that really dark shit with meth, which, was fucking horrifying. And so all of this was fine to me.
Like, we're just partying.
Yeah, dude, we're having a great day. And yeah, sure. Next day, we're always like, why the fuck do we keep doing this? Like, I don't like being drunk, so I do cocaine. And then I don't like being high, so I drink more. And then I spend all my fucking money. And then I feel like shit the next day. Do you guys want to do it again? It's like, yeah, sure.
So at this stage, you're sort of like beginning to question if it's all worth it or not. Did you ever try to like quit or anything at that age?
God, no.
No,
because I didn't know any other way, and I was having fun. Like, most of the time. Yes, there were fucking not so great, pieces here and there, but everyone was doing it. I loved being in the music industry. I got to go on like some tours. That was super fun. But all the time, there's all this nuance and contention between Aaron and I. He was a big drinker too. And like, we were kids. We fought about stupid shit all the time. Eventually, though, like, I was so wrapped up in his world. I'd never had a world of my own. And so eventually, we go to a comedy night. We end up going to this local bar for like a open mic night. And my mom got me into comedy when I was a kid. My mom used to be a comedian. She's not all bad. There are some cool things about her. So I was getting back in touch with like the comedy stuff that I loved. And suddenly I had this blank canvas where it was like my time to build my own path. And so I connect with the comedy community. I'm like, every Tuesday night I'm at this place. Every Thursday I'm at this place. And I'm just like, I'm one of the gang now. And it's wonderful. And none of Aaron's friends are there. And like, I don't have to like cater to them or prove myself. And it's just finally something that is my own. And so I start pushing Aaron away more now that I'm feeling more confident that I can still have a life after him. And at this point, this is like, I think I'm like 24. And so I'm going to comedy just about every night. I start working in the industry because I have like contacts through Aaron from the music industry. And so I start a comedy night at a local bar. It's going great. And again, it's just more stuff that's mine. And I like refuse to let Aaron come because I don't want him to embarrass me in front of these people. And so eventually I tell Aaron, like, we're done. And we had an apartment together in Cap Hill. And I like tried to kick him out, but he wouldn't leave. And so I was like, fine, I'll go. And so I pack all my shit in my car and I fucking leave. But so in this time I start dating my coke dealer. And unbeknownst to me, here's where it gets real dark.
I was going to say, dating the coke dealer, we're getting a red flag.
Yeah, so unbeknownst to me, he was doing heroin behind my back and I had no idea because I'd never been around it. And I was honestly super scared of it. And I used to lie to people and tell them that I tried it and didn't like it just so no one would offer it to me. And so unbeknownst to me, he's doing heroin. And I'm just like, man, he's a sleepy guy. Like, why doesn't he ever want to have sex? This is fucking weird. But we're also like, I'm working in comedy, he's working in cocaine. And so every night we're at a show. My like comedian friends are now his clients. It's hand in hand. We have a show, we have after party every night, and just, quote, living the dream. One night after a show, we've got an after party at my friend's house, and my boyfriend at the time, Mike, goes in the bathroom, and I'm what I call slot machine drunk, where like the whole fucking room is just spinning. And we used to, like, we snorted coke, but we also did foilies. So my boyfriend goes to the bathroom, and my friend's standing in front of me smoking a foil, and it's his place. And I look at him, and I'm like, if you don't want me to cover everything in your apartment and puke, I need you to light that for me. And fucking, like, I just need the straw in my mouth, and I have to hit that, or I'm going to puke on everything. So he does. And it is not cocaine. Ooh. And my boyfriend comes out of the bathroom just like, no. And I taste it, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck was that? And then boom, it fucking hits me. And I'm like, oh, what was that? That's lovely. And my boyfriend looked at me and shook his head, and he was like, there she goes. There she goes. And there I fucking went for sure. So after that, all the cards were on the table. Now we're all doing heroin. We're smoking every day. And it's like, I remember the first day that I got sick, and we were at my boyfriend's house, and I woke up, and my friend whose apartment I almost puked on was there. And I woke up and was just like, oh my God, dude, like, I feel like fucking shit. And he was like, so do I. And then I like picked up a foil and I hit it, and it was like, and he did too. And it was just fucking silent. And then like 15 minutes go by, and I was like, dude, I feel a lot better now. And he was like, yeah, so do I. And that was like both of our moment where we were like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Like when you realize you're using it to maintain instead of to feel good.
Yeah, that if I didn't use it, it was going to be a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And so I went downhill with gumption at that point, because it just makes you numb. And at that point in my life, all I wanted was to be numb and like preferably unconscious. And that was a great way to deal with my problems. Yeah. And so
what was it like? What did it feel like if you weren't numb?
I'm trying to think of like first signs. So like sweating, crampy. Oh, you mean like emotionally?
Yeah, like what were you trying to avoid? Was it like, yeah,
just fucking everything. Like, and at this point, like, I'm still questioning, like, did I fuck up leaving Aaron and leaving this life I've had for 6 years? Holy shit, it's been 6 months and now I'm addicted to heroin. What the fuck am I doing with my fucking life? How do I fix this? But it is just so easy to be like, okay, we'll fix it tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day. And at that point, I was like, how do I fix this? Like, I think I really fucked up getting away from Aaron. So then I reach out to Aaron, who, like, Aaron's been trying to, like, save their relationship through this whole time. And I'm just, like, both birds flying, like, fuck you. And so I reach out to Aaron because I think, like, maybe that's the ticket to get out of this. Maybe I just got to fucking rewind the tape and go back to my marriage. And so I had, like, Aaron and I are trying to reconnect. Like, poor Aaron had never been around any of this shit, you know, just coke and alcohol, the normal shit.
He's like, oh, she's really sleepy now. What the heck?
Well, it was fucking so terrible. So he had come over, and I was at my mom's at this point, living there, and he had come over and we're laying in bed, and I start to get sick. And Aaron has no idea. And I'm like, well, just make this real fucking casual. And so I like get my book that I keep my foil in. And we're like, and I say nothing. And I just like hit it with my straw. And fucking Aaron, I can just feel him squirming, like, oh God, I want to be back with this gal. Like, do I say anything? Like, what do I do? And he like finally is like, what's that? And I was like, it's opium. And he was like, oh, okay, like heroin? And I was like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like so mean to him. And he's like, so you do that now? And I was like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Stop making it a big deal. And he's like, okay. And so that's Aaron's introduction to this. And then eventually I end up moving back in with Aaron, who's now living at his parents' house. And at this point, I'm using needles. Also worth mentioning, Aaron's dad is a Denver police officer. And so I am living in a cop's house, shooting drugs, and working at a strip club. And things you might say were out of control, a little off the fucking rails.
At any point in this phase, were you like, this is a problem? Or was it still just like mental gymnastics?
Oh, it's definitely a problem. And I don't know what to do about it because this is big. This is the biggest problem I've ever had. And I don't know what to do. And I'm lying. Like, I'm lying to people because I know it's bad. Like, my mom will be like, what are all these marks on your arm? And I'm like, oh, the cat scratched me. Mm-hmm. It is just fucking ridiculous. And so I'm denying it to everyone. Aaron is like the only one that knows. And so Aaron's parents are going out of town. We decide that's going to be the time to that I fucking detox. And he tried to help me. And it was like, I think maybe a whole day that I got through. And then it when it got really bad, I was just screaming, crying in a bathtub. And I was like, you have to go get some. You have to meet my dealer. You have to go get some for me. I'm going to die. And he did. And this was one of the biggest shame moments. He came back and he got back to the house. He came in the bathroom and he handed it to me. And he was like, don't ever fucking make me do that again.
Damn.
And that was fucking heartbreaking, which made me want to use more.
Yeah, it's amazing when we have no other emotional coping skills, that even if it's the thing that's killing us, if it's the only thing that we've ever gotten relief from, that we turn to that. It seems so twisted, but it's there's no other skills, Oh,
100%.
I get out of jail from another DUI and the first thing I do is drink, you know what I mean? It makes no sense, but it's the only thing you know how to do.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And especially when I have these stark moments, not at this point with heroin, but so many moments, even in this period that I'd had being sober at the mental health centers, where I was never happier, but I don't know how to do it on my own.
Yeah.
So eventually Aaron can't take it, understandably. And I don't even I don't love Aaron anymore at this point. I'm just trying to survive, and, which is very unfair to him. But at that point, I wasn't really thinking about anybody else.
Yeah.
We have reconnected since then, and I have apologized to him. Oh, I get an abscess on my hand. It's really fucking bad. And I don't know what to do about it. I finally admit to my mom what I've been doing and tell her I need help. And so I get to her, I just leave Aaron's parents' house, go to my mom's to go to the hospital. And oh God, that one kills me because I loved Aaron's parents. And I never went back to that house. And I had left needles, spoons, everything that they had to clean up. But so I go to the hospital, I get my hand lanced. It's fucking awful. And then my mom gets me in with a naloxone doctor. And so I get on naloxone, or no, not naloxone, Jesus Christ.
Suboxone?
Suboxone, thank you very much. I get on Suboxone, and and I'm doing well. It's a miserable process to get there, but I'm doing well. The Suboxone program that I was in required therapy. Once again, they were like, you think your mom would come in? And I was like, no. So I'm doing that. And now we go back to like the same mindset of like, well, I'm not doing meth anymore. I'm not doing heroin anymore. I can drink. I can fucking drink and like reconnect with my friends that I've just fucking disappeared from. So I start going out again, doing coke again, but I'm on Suboxone and I'm not doing heroin. So everything's fine. Then I connected with a guy in the music scene here, and that I'd always had a crush on, and like he always had a girlfriend, I always had Aaron, but now we're both single. Turns out he is a very, very bad alcoholic, but as is nature with addicts, we love each other very fucking hard. And so I fall in love with him immediately, start living with him immediately, once again, out of my mom's house. And so I'm backsliding, and I think it's fine. And eventually we're drinking, we're going to shows, we're doing the thing. I don't want to go to my therapy anymore, which means I can't have Suboxone anymore if I don't do that.
Why did you want to stop going to therapy?
I think deep down I knew I was fucking up, but it was also like an inconvenience. Like I was hungover. I didn't want to fucking drive. I was probably still drunk. Like I knew these people were not going to approve of what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so I figured even if I did go, they were going to be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? So, it's like when you break up with someone first. It was like that. I was like, well, I'll break up with my psychiatrist or whatever before they break up with me. So, and then of course I frame it like, well, this is a horrible thing and they just want money and fucking like they want me to stay on this the rest of my life. Fuck them. I'm getting off of this. And so I decided to wean myself off with Mikey, my boyfriend at the time. And it's fucking bad. It's withdrawing off Suboxone is a fucking nightmare. And I really weaned myself. I was cutting down to like slivers and I was doing fine. And then the second I didn't have like a sliver, it all fucking hell broke loose. And so once again, the only way I know how to cope is drinking. And so I decided to drink myself through these withdrawals. And Mikey called it werewolfing because I would get so drunk and just like freak out. And he would we had roommates. We had 2 roommates. And he would lock me in the room and he would tell the roommates, no matter what you hear, no matter like what's going on behind that door, don't let her out. So we called it werewolfing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were always funny. And so I start doing this lovely regimen where every morning I get 750 of Kentucky Deluxe, which is a hard word for me to say. And we pour it into 2 pint glasses, dome them. And then I'd have like 3 of these blasts, which are basically like 4 Locos through the day. And, whatever anyone else brought into the house. And so I was blacked out basically for like 2 weeks. And I'd always drank. And like there was always alcoholic jokes. But I did not understand what like being physically addicted to alcohol is until this moment in time. And after 2 weeks, I wake up one morning and I tell Mike, I was like, dude, I think I'm good. Like, I think I'm through these withdrawals. Like, I feel pretty good. And he's like, that's awesome. He goes to the bathroom. By the time he's back, I'm like, oh no, I feel a different kind of shitty. What's going on? And he's like, oh, you're an alcoholic now. And he tosses a fucking like fireball shooter at me and I drink it. And he's like, you feel better now, don't you? And I was like, I do.
Damn.
So now I'm an alcoholic. Off of Suboxone though, so we got that win. But I am firmly an alcoholic. And this lasts about 3 months of heavy drinking. And Mikey, like there was periods where like we would try to quit, we would successfully quit like throughout our whole relationship, but then like we would be bored. Like we would just sit around, we would watch horror movies, watch fucking like comedy, and then like that would last about like 3-5 days, and then it'd just be like not even, it'd be like 3 days. 5 seems like a lot. And then he'd be like, I'm fucking bored. and we'd go to the bar. And
I feel like boredom is a massive trigger for people trying to quit or trying to get into recovery too, because they're just like so used to drinking or substances or whatever that it's like we kind of lose touch with everything else that's interesting in life. And yeah, it's like the only thing we know. Same thing with like coping with emotions. It's the only thing we know. And then like it's the only like activity that we've had for so long. It's like when you're bored, you're like, oh, there's not like all of the other normal human things that people do. It's like you just kind of snap back to that thing you're used to. So that makes
and it's so like intertwined with your entire social life too at that point. And it's like, oh, I want to hang out with my friends. You guys like want to go fishing or something that we've talked about when we were high on cocaine? And they're like, no, we're hungover. We're fucking drinking. And we're like, okay, we'll meet you at the bar. Here's where it probably gets darker. And so Mikey's bad. Mikey is no longer with us. Mikey was the worst alcoholic I've ever seen, and it was heartbreaking. But like, I'm really good at focusing on others versus myself. That was another like favorite thing I love to do.
caregiving.
And so, yeah, I'm trying to help him get so like he's vomiting blood, he's shitting blood, like blood is constantly coming out of him, and oftentimes he can't even drink enough to stop his seizures and his pain. And so I am trying to help him through this. He ends up getting sent to rehab, and I'm like, oh, well, like I'm doing okay. Like I'll go out to the bars and like catch up with everyone while Mikey's away. Like I don't have to worry about like triggering him or whatever. And so I go out to the bars, and that's when I find out that the rumor mill has been a fucking churning, and everyone is convinced that I have Mikey on heroin, and everybody loves Mikey. And so I go to the bars, I get kicked out, I get drinks thrown in my face, I get hit, I get fucking spit on. Like this town that like I couldn't go in anywhere not knowing people, and like normally it was like, Hana, what's up? Now is suddenly, fuck you, you're not allowed in this community, like you've been removed from this community and we fucking hate you. And so that's real fucking difficult.
God, I can't imagine. I'm sure that you probably felt super out of control and hopeless, I would guess.
Oh yeah, well, and I was angry because it was coming from all of these people who loved Mikey so fucking dearly, but all of this time we've been spending at the house trying to get him clean, and that's why we're not out. Not one of them has shown up once. And how fucking dare you?
Yeah.
So I'm angry. Mikey comes back from, oh no, it's during this time while Mikey's in rehab that I'm like, well, everyone hates me and I have nothing left. Back to heroin. And I just, I go and pick up and I'm back on heroin. No, I'm wrong on my timeline.
Okay.
So, okay, that's next. Mikey's parents end up kicking me out of his house. They own the house that we were renting. And so I have this mortifying day where his parents walk me through the house with a fucking laundry basket. And I loved these people too. And they're like, is that yours? Get it. You're never coming back here. Is that yours? Grab it. Or you'll never see it again. Mikey's passed out on the couch during this process, and I can't even talk to him, and it's fucked. And so I get kicked out of the house. I call my good friend. I'm hyperventilating. Mikey was supposed to be getting us alcohol that day and bringing it back, so I'm sick. And I'm kicked out. I call my friend. He's like, get over here. Like, I just want to know you're safe. So I show up at his house, and he, I hadn't told anyone that I was, physically addicted. And he just knew. And he was like, what do you need? And I was like, I need whiskey. And so he went to the liquor store. He grabs whiskey, brings it back. He's also a coke dealer. He leaves me cocaine. He has to go to work. He's a bartender. And he's like, all right, I'm going to be back. This time, just stay here. I just want to know you're safe. And I'm like, okay. I drink all of the whiskey. I don't even want the cocaine. I hate myself. I want to die. I don't know what to do. I'm rock bottom. I'm physically addicted to alcohol. I'm fucked. And I decide I want to die. And So in a drunken blur, I go to hang myself from, I don't even know what I used. And maybe it was like a curtain rod or something not structurally sound. So I say my goodbyes, I guess, to myself. I throw that over whatever I threw it over. I'm hanging for a little bit. Structure gives out. And it was in front of like 3 big bay windows. And when it happens, I like swung through the window. Wow. And I split my head open. And then I like swing back inside and bounce my head, which has a shard of glass in it, off of the hardwood floor, which pounds it into my head. And now I'm bleeding out. And like, I'm really happy about it. And I kept going in and out of consciousness. And I just remember every time that I woke up, the blood was like farther and farther away. And then out of nowhere, like my friend shows up, throws me in a tub, ambulance. We're down the way from Denver Health. They come and get me. And I'm fighting them the entire time. And they get me to the hospital, strap me down, sedate me. I'm fighting the doctors. I'm fighting everybody. And
you have like, you weren't blacked out. You remember all of it?
Bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Bits and pieces. But like, I remember like the blood being farther away. I remember like it was this tiny little staircase. And like, oh man, I gave them hell. And they like had to make these weird fucking turns carrying me, flailing, fighting. And then being in the hospital and fucking like, I remember ripping shit out of me. They were trying to put like IVs and shit, and I'm just ripping everything off. So they sedate me. So I got, I don't know, like 10 staples in my head and like a bunch of stitches in my back. And then I woke up in a hospital room with my fucking mother there. And I'm like, I'm leaving. And I tried to leave and she went and got security. And then I was non-consensually admitted there for a 9-day medical detox. And so I'm through the alcoholism at that point. Like I get through that. I leave the hospital.
When you woke up the next day, did you still want to die or did you want to...
Oh, I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was very close to what I saw as being out of this fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very angry. And on top of that, my mom had been watching my 2 cats and then informed me that she gave them away.
Jesus.
And that's when I was like, I'm fucking leaving. Because I called, she'd like given them to one of the centers out here, and I called them and I was like, that's my cat. He's not a fucking stray. That's my baby. Mm-hmm. And they were like, well, we have a 72-hour hold. It's already been 2 days. If you can get here tomorrow, or he'll go up for adoption. And so that's when I tried to leave, and my mom called security. And so I had lost Mikey. I had lost all of my social scene in Denver because everyone fucking hated me. I'd lost my 2 children, my cats. And so that was when I was like, back to heroin. Fuck this. Like, I actively want to die, and hopefully that'll do it. And so I'm back on heroin. I'm living in a motel. Throughout, like, all of this, I'd been doing sex work. And this is when I was just, like, flat out, like, just straight, like, it started as, like, fetish modeling. And now at this point, it has morphed into just fucking straight prostitution.
This was, like, the main way that you were getting money.
Yeah. Which is, you know, soul killing and, like, fucking, it like grosses me out. Like, I don't want to be with these fucking people, but like, I'm desperate and I need money. So that's a whole other layer of like shame and fucking like just feeling hopeless. Like, how the fuck, I'm a fucking heroin addicted prostitute. Like, what the fuck? No, I don't want to keep, and I've lost everything. And so Mikey got out of rehab at that point. He came to see me in the hotel that I'm living at. It's super sad because I'm think I'm super covert doing heroin in the bathroom, and he knows. And so that was sad. He leaves. I just continue prostituting out of this hotel, motel, let's be real, and doing my drugs. Like at this point, I'm doing so many drugs that like my dealer's plug really liked me. And he worked with like cartel, and he would be in and out of Colorado to like Southern California. And he was coming to see me, and he'd been gone for a couple months. And he told me that like I was using too much heroin.
Damn.
And I was like, wow, that's coming from you. And so, yeah, I want to die. I have nothing. This goes on for maybe like a month. It's hard to say. And then Mikey calls me, and he's in Seattle, and he's moved out there, and he wants me to move with him. And I'm like, yes, I have nothing here. Yes. I go to Seattle. He tells me he's sober and that he wants to help me get clean. And so that was always, doctors love that in Seattle when they're like, why'd you come here? To get clean. Yeah. Really? And so I go to Seattle. There's so many shit shows involved in that. And Mikey is not sober at all. He's worse than he's ever been. I'm using, he's drinking, he's having seizures almost every day, to the point that like I'm holding bottles in his mouth while I've got like, EMS on the other line to come get him before he dies. So this is highly fucking traumatic. Eventually Mikey got really fucking dark, and Mikey started really scaring me. And he would like walk around the house at night with like a butcher knife. He would carry hammers everywhere. He threw a shoe at my cat Smash, who I still have somehow today. He threw a like steel toe boot at my cat's head. I almost put a screwdriver through his neck. So I was like, I have to get the fuck out of here. This is really bad. This is really scary. Mikey's going to kill me. He's going to kill my cat.
And this is like the last relationship you have with like any other human, really.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. My mom is like, I call my mom at some point, and I'm like, I want to come. Oh yeah, this is a fun bit. I'm like, I want to come back to Colorado, and she's like, well, you can't. And I was like, well, why? And she's like, well, you have statewide felony warrants. And I was like, what? Why? And she was like, well, so before I left, she'd let me get a bunch of stuff as like a moving gift, like good luck in your new life gift. And after I left, she turned it all in as fraud, so she wouldn't have to pay for it.
Oh my God.
And she's like, well, I made sure it was non-extraditable. I'm like, that's great. Thanks. Did you figure out a statute of limitations? She's like, no, I didn't think to ask.
Oh my gosh. So your real last human relationship is this twisted, fucked up relationship that you've had on and off with your mom your whole life. Yeah. Hey everyone, it's Early from the future. That's going to be it for Hana's story today. I'm breaking it up into a few parts, like I said, so tune in next time to see what happens in Hana's story. And spoiler alert, it gets worse. I know, it's kind of hard to imagine it getting worse, but it does, and then it gets a lot better. Recovery Demystified is produced and edited by me, Early Brunner. Stevie Pettit made our logo. Our social media manager is Kaylee Bausch. Logan Bragg wrote our beautiful theme music. We are entirely supported by donations as a 501c3 nonprofit. Your tax-deductible donations can be made to our Venmo or to our PayPal at Recovery Demystified. May you be happy and free, dear listener.